All right, I'm back. I'm back. Connection issues. I have a connection issues. I am back. Share again. Share again. Share again. I'm gonna pick up where I left off at. If I shut off again, I'm coming back again. There are so many. There are so many. Let me repeat what I said in the other video. There are so many. Many are called, few are chosen. I need to explain that. That's a great place right there. Many are called, few are chosen. Our doctrine has taught us that God had respect of persons, that somebody else was more favored of God than you were, or than you are. That's not the truth, my brothers and sisters. There are not people that are more favored of God than you are. Please hear me. What we are experiencing in this right now, in this season of pulling and coming into destiny, this is why it's so confusing, because a lot have given up just because they've heard that God loves someone else more than them, and now they're going through things because they are not favored of God. I'm here to tell you and to declare to you that's not true. God loves you. Now he's pulling you into a season where he's making distinctions in the directive, because if you're confused in your direction, you will never reach your destination. And so you need to come close. This is what scripture says: give more diligence to make your calling and your election sure. Give the more diligence to make your calling and your election sure. You know why the text is written? That is interesting, why Colossians write that text. Notice what it says: make your calling and your election sure. That seems to be out of order, because you are elected before you get the call. Destiny or predestined, as you are called, or your election is before, because election is eternal of God. You get the election before you ever hear the call. This is interesting how the passage is constructed. Let me explain. Make sure, give the more diligence to make your calling and election. Why does it put calling before the election? If the election is the eternal thing, the call is what you answer when you get here. Very powerful. I am glad you asked so that I can explain. This explains the many are called, few are chosen. The reason why the construct of the scripture says calling and election sure, when election come before the call, it means that if you don't answer the call, you will never discover the election. The election is before you got here. But when you get here, you got to answer the call after you get here, even though you have been elected. That's why it says many are called, few are chosen. You have got to understand that until first I've got to hear the call. And then once I hear the call, I acknowledge the call, I go after the call, then he tells me what I have been chosen for. And that's been the issue. We've only stopped at the call part and never went out the specifics of my destiny and election in God. Are you here? So if you are confused in the directions, you never make it to your destination. This is important. If you never get the proper direction, this is why it's so confusing, because you have lived life as a slave. You talk about a slave. It's when you have distinct destiny in your life, and you never go to God and ask him, what is it that you want me to do? I know you ask other people that are much smarter than you are, but I admonish you this time, go to God and say, what do you want for me? Even if it's not to the lacking of the people that love you being on their team, because you were so talented and you had so many gifts. This is the season that you ask again, God, what does it that mean? So now this is why we are being challenged in everything, because God is ready for you to walk in destiny. This is your destiny season. This is the time that you're going to see the goodness of God in your life like never before, because he's walking. That's why you have fought difficult battles. You've been through extreme things, because confusion, the enemy, the adversary tried to confuse you, that so that you'll say, I'm not even dealing with that. So I want to deal with that. I want to show you something here in scripture. I'm going to be reading something from Daniel chapter 10. The Bible is written for our admonition and our example. In other words, if I want to see a good example, go to the scripture. And remember, script is the script that paints the picture in this turbulent time, through the challenging time, through the things that you're going through, the tragedies of life. Notice you've come too far again to ever think about giving up on what God has called you to do. You come too far. You cannot. Failure is not an option. Quitting is not an option. Slowing down right now is not your option. You are too great, and there is an expected end. You know, in Jeremiah 29:11 is a passage that we quote most oft times because it's a very exciting passage. But here's the part of it that the details will suggest. When Jeremiah writes that, he is rebutting a prophet from the 28th chapter of Jeremiah. Sometimes we need to read the context and make sure we put every story in context. That was a prophet named Hananiah that prophesied in the 28th chapter of Jeremiah that Israel, who was taken captive in Babylon, 70 years have been determined, and 70 years you're going to be there. In the midst of captivity, there was a prophet that came and prophesied. His name was Hananiah. Read it, Jeremiah 28. After God had told him this is going to happen, 28th chapter, they are moving into the captivity part, and the prophet gets up, Hananiah, and prophesied that in the span of 2 years, God is going to bring back to Israel everything that had been taken captive into Babylon. Why is this important? Because there's some details in there, and destiny is always in the details. And this is what you have to understand in your turbulent moment, in your moment of challenge, in the moment that you don't understand, why am I going through this? So Hananiah writes and says that there would be a return, a restoration of everything that had been taken captive. Now, of course, when you get up in church and you make those declarations, what happens? The church starts shouting and start, because why shouldn't God, or why wouldn't God want to restore everything that the enemy has taken? You know the verbiage. Now, watch this. Here's the important thing. When he prophesies it, they shout. Even Jeremiah says amen to the prophecy. Jeremiah leaves the presence of Hananiah. The Lord deals with him and says, you go back to Hananiah and tell Hananiah he's just prophesied a lie into the ears of my people. Now, ain't that incredible that God tells Jeremiah to rebuke Hananiah, and when Hananiah only prophesied that everything that was stolen from you will be restored to you? Why wouldn't God want us to hear that? Well, why wouldn't he want that to be the prophecy? Well, he says he's prophesying confusion and lies into the ears of people. Let's read it, Jeremiah 28 chapter, and notice it. He says, go back and tell them that that's a bad misunderstanding in the direction. And if they don't get the direction correct, they'll never meet the destination or coming into the destination. Check this out. It's very important. This is for those of you that are being challenged on every hand and it's confusing. How can I, being who I am or who they said that I was, be challenged on this level? And so then he tells Jeremiah, he says, now you write a letter that rebut the letter that Hananiah just wrote to the people and tell them they're coming out. And this is where you get the Jeremiah 29:11. He says, I know the thoughts I think for you. Read the first verse of 29, even up to all the way up to the 11th verse. He's telling them, I know the thoughts I think of you. They are there. They are not thoughts of evil. Now, ain't it interesting that God tells a people that are in captivity, he knows their thoughts that he thinks toward it. He knows his mind toward them. Just imagine that. In the midst of their captivity, he's saying to them, I still got you. I'm talking to people that are challenged in areas you think things have gotten you caught up and you don't know, you're restricted in your movement. He's saying to you, hold on. I know the thoughts I think of you. I know the plans I have for you. Not when you come out, but right now where you are. I need you to start believing me now. Notice what he says. He says, plant a garden, marry. I want to bring great destiny in the place that you thought it could never happen. I'm going to say it again. I want to bring greatness to the places that you are right now. As a matter of fact, you are there to bring or to show the people that in the area that you're in, that God is great and you will overcome right where you are. That's why the Bible says we are overcomers or more than conquerors. Why is it writing this? It's because every time we get in a situation that people think it's the last time, it's over with, we rise again. Somebody listening to me right now, you've been in that people told you it was over. It seems like you were restricted. Nothing is happening for you. And now you get a message from God saying, I know the plans I have for you. The plans I have for you is not for you to die in this situation. There is an expected in. You will come out of this. You will be great. I'm going to allow you to walk into great places. But right now, I'm going to allow you to show the place that you are in that I'm great. Watch it. I'm going to allow you to walk into great places. But right now, I'm going to let you show the place that you're in that I'm great. One more time. I'm going to let you walk into great places. But I'm now allowing the place that you're in to see that I'm great. This is why we got to make sure that everything we do is correct in the eyes of God. That's why we got to know that God has got us in spite of what we think we're going through and how many times we've gone through it. That's why I can't listen to people tell me that God is upset with me because I'm in a moment. Many are the afflictions of the righteous. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers us out of some of them. The Bible says he delivers us out of them all. So you stop letting people tell you who you're not. You come too far right now. You know what? The challenge that you face, you can handle that. You've been equipped. You've been a fighter your whole life. You can handle the challenge. Here's what you can't handle is those voices from people that you trust tell you that you are incapable. You'll never make it. You'll never do it. Those are the words that dig deep. Those are the words that you fight against. It's not the challenge. It's not the challenge. You can face the challenge outside, but it's the words that you hear from credible sources, as you call them, from people that told you you'll never. Perhaps it's a family member. It might be a pastor. It might be people that's watching your circumstance and they are judging you from your circumstance. They'll lie. God sees, he knows exactly where you are. I know the plans I have for you. I know where you are. I know exactly what you are going through. I know it. I see it. I am not confused. People are confused, but God is not confused when he sees you. He knows exactly where you are. He knows exactly what you are in. He knows exactly how you're in it. He knows the time that you're going to be in it. He knows how much you need while you're in the circumstances to be sharpened. He knows all of these things. Don't you dare doubt God in your moment. Now watch this. Jeremiah, the 29th chapter, 7th verse says something interesting. Let me read that to you. It says, and seek the peace of the city. I want to read this whole thing. I want to read this whole thing. I want to read this. Jeremiah 29:11, because you need to hear this, because if you are confused in the directions, you won't go to the destination. You will never get to your destination. God tells Jeremiah, remember the 28th chapter is Hananiah saying that God can't be blessing you in the circumstance that you're in. He's writing letters to confused people that are in captivity, saying you can't be the blessed of God being in that situation. And God rebukes him through Jeremiah and say, tell him he's a lie. I already know what I plan. I already told him. I know where they're going. I know what they're going through. If they can trust me in the moment, I bring them through it. Now, this is verse 1 of Jeremiah 29. Watch what it says. Now, these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem unto the residue of the elders, which were carried away captive. Now, here, listen to what it says. The residue of the elders. The residue of elders. In this turbulent time, be very careful that you don't miss your moment, because the challenges that you are seeing are sharpening tools of God. You are being challenged. It suggests the magnitude of the destiny that you're walking into. I don't want you to confuse that. I do not want you to confuse that. The magnitude of the challenge is a picture of the level of destiny that has been designed for your life. And that's why we got to get this. Many are the afflictions of the righteous. There's so many right now. You are going through drastic things. Why? Because there are drastic measures that are about to happen in your destiny. God is going to allow you to walk in great places. Yes. But he wants to show the place that you're in that he's great. That's why you are held up right now in this moment, because there's some people that need to see the greatness of God right here, We want to get to the place called great, but we don't want to show God great in the place that we are. And that's why we are being challenged right now. He's sharpening you now for later, right now. Destiny is calling. And so if I don't get distinct directives in this season, I never get to a destiny. I don't want to discard this moment. So Jeremiah, after rebutting the prophet Hananiah that says in the span of 2 years, it's going to happen for you. Don't worry about it. It won't be any challenges. It's going to happen. He rebuts him at the order of directive of God, telling him he's prophesying lies into the ears of the people. There will be a time of challenge, but I got them. I know exactly where they are. And he says, write this letter, Jeremiah sent to Jerusalem unto the residues of elders which were carried away captive. Now here, elders are taken captive, and to the priests. The priests were taken captive, and to the prophets. I want to emphasize that because that's very important. This is very important. I want to emphasize that. Notice, Jeremiah is writing a letter to those that are captive in Babylon. And notice what they say. He says, write this to the residue of elders. Boom. Number 2, priests. Boom. And number 3, prophets. And to all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. We're all in a season of challenge. I don't want you to think you are here by yourself because you're the lower level. No, everybody's been challenged. Those that are designed to do great things are being challenged in this season. There's a paradigm shift in what we see, and now the directives are changing because what we tried to build perhaps wasn't even a design of God. That's why it says prophets, priests, elders were taken captive because of the shift. Please hear me right now because of the shift. This is a brand new season. I'm going to say it again. This is a brand new season. This is not a branding season. This is a brand new season, but it's not a branding season. Right now, we're so interested in building a brand. God is suggesting a brand new season. In other words, there's elders, there's priests and prophets that have been taken captive because God is trying to do something different. And so here Jeremiah, he's shifting some things. This is like God tells Moses, go to Pharaoh who got my people captive and tell them to release 3 days so that they can go into the wilderness and worship. Now, interesting. I want to leave Egypt captivity, and you telling me the freedom is wilderness. Really? Watch this. Only God. You telling me that I'm going to be delivered from my captor, but you're going to send me into the wilderness. Which is better? Is it Egypt or wilderness? And this is why it confused the children of Israel so many times, because the wilderness experience doesn't seem like the place that you're walking in freedom from what you just come out of. And that's why it's so confusing. Now, watch Jeremiah. He's talking to elders. He's talking to prophets that thought they had a grasp on it. And now he's saying, look here, I'm doing something different. See, the wilderness is a place, watch, to worship. Worship is the realigning of your focus. Worship is not a slow song. It's the realigning of a focus. It's putting the work back into the right place. I'm helping somebody already. Worship is not a slow song. It's the refocusing of my work. What is worthy of my attention? And so he says, I'm going to make them leave a captive moment and come into a wilderness moment so I can realign what they've been thinking. And so look at the cycles of God. Whenever I need to realign people focus, I send them into a moment. A lot of you are in a moment because it draws you closer to God. And now he's realigning your focus. And this is going to be affect several areas. It's going to affect priests, it's going to affect prophets, and it's going to affect elders, because God is trying to realign a focus. Let me stay with me now. Stay with me now. And so he says to the prophet that all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. Number 2 says, after that, Jeconiah the king and the queen and the eunuchs, the princes of Judah and Jerusalem, and the carpenters and the smith were departed from Jerusalem. Everybody was in a moment of shift. Watch this. 3rd verse says, by the hand Elisha the son of Shaphan and Gemariah the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah king of Judah sent unto Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon, saying, thus said the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that carried away captive, all that are carried away captive, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. Are y'all still here with me? Watch this. Build ye houses and dwell in them. Here's the prophecy of God telling the people that was taken captive, build a house. You're waiting for your great moment that you see in your mind as a great moment. But I'm going to take the moment that you're in to show that I'm great. Follow me. Waiting for the release to show, to think that you are great. And God is saying, I'm going to show the place that you are in that he's great. Now, you want to be great. See, sometimes we don't think that we can be all God wants us to be until we look good. That's why I asked the question a couple of weeks ago. Is your number one a win for God? Or is it just to show everybody that you're the man or the woman? Watch this, watch this. Is your number one a win for God? In other words, you being in the top position, is it to bring glory to God, or is it just to show everybody that you got better than they have? Is your new car, your new house, blah, 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 all this thing to show people that you're much greater than they are? Is your number one? Is your desire to be in the number one position? Is that a win for God? Is that a glory? Does that bring glory to God? Now, watch this. God is saying to you that you want to be in a certain place where you show everybody, I'm free from this and how great you are. He's saying to you, I want to take the position and the place that you're in and show people that I'm great. God is more interested in him being great than you being great. Are you still here? So he's shifting the moment where people that you thought would never be in captivity are now in captivity. Watch it. The elders, the priests, and the prophets are in a moment because God is shifting something. He's trying to show his greatness when we've been trying to build a brand to show how great we were. Are you still here with me? Stay with me now. Stay with me now because I'm going somewhere. So he says, build ye houses where? We're in the place of captivity, because I'm about to show the people in the place that think you got captive, they held you captive, that I'm still a great God. Why? It says, and dwell in them and plant gardens. Get ready for things to grow in your life. Right where you are. You think that you got to wait till this is over, but he's saying right now your mindset is, I'm a winner right now. Watch it, watch it. It says, and eat the fruit of them. If you obey the command, you're going to be able to eat in captivity. If you obey the command, you're going to be able to eat what other people say there's no eating there. Follow me. Stay with me there. 6th verse says, take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there. Where is there? The place that everybody else says it can't happen, God's going to increase you in that moment. You come too far to turn back now. Don't let the confusion stop you from believing. Don't let this moment that everybody say is not a good time stop you from planting and expecting to receive. Are you listening to me? Don't let it happen, because the God in you is greater than the circumstances that you go through. The God in you is much greater than the circumstance that you're going through. You're waiting for a moment to be great, and God says, in this moment, I'm going to show them how great I am. So get ready. So he says, increase there and not diminish. That's a very powerful statement from a very powerful God. In captivity in Babylon, chosen people of God, and he says to them, increase where? There. Where? In the moment that you feels like you're in captivity. Increase there and not diminish. Don't you dare think things are going to slow down because you're in a fix or a moment or what it seems like is a tragedy. Watch it again. He says, increase there and not diminish. I want to speak this to somebody. You need to hear this. You need to hear this. You need to hear this. In case you're an elder, a prophet, what it says, a priest. Notice Jeremiah is writing to all of them because they were all living a moment. He says, write this letter to the priests, the prophets, also the elders that are captive in Babylon. I know where you are. And notice what it said, plant a garden. Don't think that this situation will prevent you from increasing. Don't think the moment that you're in can ever stop my plan for your life. Don't you think that what you're going through is bigger than who I am. And so he ends it by saying, increase there and not diminish. Right now, expect increase. Right now, aggressively go for the dream. I don't have resources. He didn't say look for resources. He says set your heart to go for what he placed in you. Set your heart to go for what he's placed in you. 7th verse is what I was trying to get to, is, and seek the peace of the city, whether I have caused you to be carried away captive. Listen to the language of God to people that are in captivity. Seek the peace of the city, whether I have caused you to be carried. In other words, you're seeking another position to be great. I want to show the place that you're in that I'm great. So seek the peace of the city that I've caused you to be taken captive to. That is so interesting. Right now, the position that you're in, seek the peace of it. Right now, with your focus on a great God. Seek the peace of the city wherewith I cause you to be captive. Watch this. Watch what it says. And pray unto the Lord for it. And pray unto the Lord. Here's a very interesting statement by a very great God. Seek the peace of the city. In other words, your current condition right now. Your current condition right now. Your current condition right now. God has given you an assignment for your current position and condition. You've been trying to go out of it or get out of it. He says, no, there is a work right here. Seek the peace of the city wherewith you are taken captive. In other words, and pray for it. Notice what the text said, and pray for it. This is Jeremiah 29, verse 7. And watch it. And pray unto the Lord for it. Right now, this disastrous condition that you're in, pray to God for it. I put you in the disaster so that you can bring deliverance. You're going to have to pray for the place that you are. You're going to pray for this position that you despise. Let me emphasize something very powerful right here. You're going to have to pray for the president that you despise. I'm going to say it again. People don't like that because we're in a midterm election. I want to tell you what the truth is. If you want to see the blessings of God on your life and you want to see change, he says, I put you in the area of disaster so that you could bring deliverance. You're trying to fight the place that you're in. You're thinking that I got to be over here to be great. For you to be great, I got to be over here. God says, I want you where you are so I can show the place that you are that I'm great. So he says, seek the peace of the city where which you've been taken captive and pray for it. How can an intercessor say they can't pray? This is what the enemy always comes in and he gives us these thoughts and he suggests to us that we can defy what God's word has said about us. I've got to speak this because it's the truth on everything. Daniel says in this book of Daniel says something very powerful. He says, it is God that put kings in place and it is God that take them out. This challenges some of our doctrine and belief system. We don't even know. If we say we trust God, how can we defy the system of God? As Daniel said, it is he that put kings in place and takes kings out. Why are we fighting? Why can't we believe God? Oh, I know that's something that we don't want to hear, but it's truth anyway. So here it is. He's telling people that are in captivity, after hearing a message from the prophet Hananiah, 28th chapter, that God is going to restore to you everything that the enemy stole. Church shout, jumping and hollering and screaming. Then Jeremiah gets a directive from God and say, rebuke the prophet because I know where they are. I placed them in a position with their anointed self because I'm trying to bring deliverance where they are. They trying to get in a place where they look good, and I'm trying to show the place that they are that I'm good. I'm great. And he says, pray for the area that you're in, even though you don't like it. Can I say it again? Pray for the condition that you're in, even though you don't like it. Let's push it even further. Pray for the people in the place that you're in that you don't like. You were set in that destination to bring deliverance, and you got to act up. You got to act to the level of your anointing that God has placed on you for that time. You want to talk about for such a time as this? There's a time that God allowed you to be in a situation. Seek the anointing for that time. Seek anointing for that time. You're seeking anointing for when you come out and you start looking good. But God says, I anointed you for your right now. If you want to really obey me, follow my directive where you are in captivity. It ain't about looking good. It's about showing God worship in the place that you're in. Watch it. Seek the peace of the city wherewith I have caused you to be carried away captive, and pray unto the Lord for it. Watch this. A very aggressive directive of God. Watch what he says. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. In the peace thereof shall ye have peace. Let me unpack that. He's saying until you get peace with the place that you are in, you are never going to have peace in your life. You've been seeking the out to get out, and God says have peace. Watch this. For in the peace thereof shall ye have peace. If you can't come to the place where you got peace, where God has planted you right now, when the situation don't look good, he says you're never going to find peace. You're probably never going to come out until you seek the place of peace, where I position you, because I gave you this destiny to bring deliverance. That's a very powerful statement, because here it is. Hear me. Here's a picture of something that God had done before. Here's a picture of something God. Israel wandered in the wilderness 40 years. They wandered in a position 40 years. Now watch this. That word wonder has a dual definition. We always applied it to they were lost. But I think it's a faith moment. They couldn't discern the time. Let me explain. They wondered about their God. Please hear me. They wondered about their God. They were not lost. They wondered. How do you know this, and how is this applicable to what you're saying? Remember, Moses had a father-in-law. His name was Jethro. The text says that he brought his sons into the wilderness to see their father. Now, watch this. You don't have to be the smartest or the sharpest knife in the cabinet. But if your father-in-law is bringing your sons down to see you, and then he leave and go back home, why don't you just follow your father-in-law out of this situation? That's interesting, right? Well, here's the key to the passage. When God has got you in a situation, I don't care who comes in and goes out. I don't care who moves freely about the cabin. You don't leave until you are sure that the assignment that God placed you there for is complete. You are stuck there until you say, yes, I will obey you where I am. So until you seek the peace of the place that you're in, you won't see peace in your life, because you are on assignment. Now watch this. I gotta move on. For thus said the Lord, 8th verse, for thus said the Lord, the God of Israel, let not your prophets, watch this, let not your prophets, or your diviners that be in the midst of you deceive you. Neither hearken to their dreams would ye cause to be dreamed. Are you listening to that? He's got you in a position. He says, don't let people prophesy you out of this position. Don't let your prophets or your diviners, those that be in the midst of you, that you trusted their voice forever. He says, listen, don't let them deceive you and talk you out of this moment, because you're not going to find peace until you find peace with the place that I place you. Somebody need to hear that. Watch this. Dreams, which ye caused you to dream. For they prophesy falsely unto you in my name. I have not sent them, said the Lord. Are y'all listening? Are y'all listening to me? This is God speaking to a people that are in captivity. They are chosen people of God. They are people that God loves. He says, but I put you in a place because I want the place to show, to see how great I am. And I put my special agents through trials and tribulations so that they can come out a winner, so that the people in the place can see that I am a God that allows my people to win. And he says, don't listen to the people that are prophesying to you and telling you that you are, look at you, you're going through again. Here, there you go. Oh, Lord. Every time I turn around, you in one another thing. Let them talk, but don't listen. Stay focused on what God has called you to do in your time right now. Watch this. 10th verse says, for thus said the Lord, that after 70 years be accomplished in Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you in causing you to return to this place. Listen to what he's saying. I know what time it is. I know where you are. I've already promised you something. I won't leave you there. Go through. Finish what I have started in you. Don't you dare relent. No matter what people say, no matter how they prophesy, no matter how they're telling you that you don't look good right now, close your ear, because I place you somewhere and I want you to show the place that I place you that I am a great God. Then your favorite passage comes along that we always read on Sunday morning, but there's context to it. Now, watch the context to Jeremiah 29:11. Watch this. For I know the thoughts I think toward you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end. In other words, I know exactly where you are. I know exactly. He's speaking to people that are in captivity. I know where you are. I know exactly what you're going through. I know it. I know the time that you're going to be there. I place you there. There's some work that's going to be done there. You're going to be great there. You're going to show people. Because when they see your life, when they see the things that you have accomplished through my word and your obedience to it, they're going to know that I am God. They're going to know that he is God, that it had to take and be God that delivered you out of your situation. And God is saying this now is your time of destiny. Get ready for it. Get ready to walk into the greatest life ever. You've come too far to turn back now. You way too close to your destiny. Turn back now. Let's pray together because my time is up. Father, I thank you for this word. I thank you for the listeners and the hearers of this word today. Thank you right now for every trial, tribulation, everything I've gone through. It was there to sharpen me for this great destiny that you caused to be in me. I just thank you again for everyone that's listening to the sound of my voice. Thank you for this word. I thank you for their deliverance as well as you bring them through, as you give them understanding, as you give them wisdom in the moment. Lord, we thank you for protecting us forever through all that we go through. Thank you so much for the peace that we have in our time of struggle. In Jesus' name, amen. If you will, please, I'm having connection issues. My computer is giving me all kind of messages, but I hope this has played all the way through. I want you to share this, if you will. Do what you've never done. Share it with 100 people. Share it with 100 people. There's so many people right now that are confused in their direction, and so they can't reach their destination. They're confused about where they are. They think God can't see them where they are, and God sees you. He knows that. I read from the book of Jeremiah, 29th chapter, verses 1 through 11. I want you to read that again, but I would suggest that you read 28th chapter to give context to 29th chapter. Because we are confused, because there's a moment that we're going through a couple of things, and we are confused because we think God don't see us in the thing, and he keeps telling us, I know, I'm God. Remember, I'm the all-knowing God that you talk about. I'm the all-seeing God that you talk about. I have not lost my power. I have not lost. I'm still there. I'm still here for you. Now, this video, both videos, part one, there's a part one to this that I got cut off, and part two, I will upload today to my YouTube page, Pastor G at Network of Believers. Pastor G at Network of Believers. Go there and subscribe. For those of you that are in the Little Rock area, this Saturday, 3 p.m., I will be speaking at the 92nd anniversary of Graham's Temple Church of God in Christ, right here in Little Rock, Arkansas. 92nd church anniversary. I'm the speaker there. That's Saturday. Usually, traditionally, it's on Sunday, but this year they're having it on Saturday. 3 p.m. Saturday, Graham's Temple in the College Station area. I will be the main speaker for the 92nd church anniversary of Graham's Temple Church of God in Christ. I hope that you can make it there. I would love to see you there. Go to my YouTube page again. That's 2 years of uplifts that are there. I want you to go and take your time and read. I believe that God is speaking something very specific in this season. And as Lunchtime Uplift continue, we'll dig deep into those things, because you come too close to turn back now. Don't let confusion stop you from going for the dream. The dream is yours to have. Amen. I am thankful. Thank all of you guys. I can't even move my scroll down my comments, so I don't know exactly who all is in the house. But I think I know my wife is here. Love you, baby. Pastor Gibber Johns, Pastor DJ Johns, Pastor Angela Thomas, Pastor Deron Thomas, my assistants at Network of Believers. Thank you so much. Pastor Stevie T. Robinson, thank you so much. Raina, we are praying for you. Blessings, 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 blessings to you. Everybody, everywhere, I pray for you. These are tough times, but you will make it. Marlo, you will make it through this season of life. It's just a moment in life. It's not your life. So don't dare let the enemy tell you that your life is messed up. No. Every divine setup start out like looking like a divine jack-up. Don't you ever forget that. Don't you ever forget that. Don't you ever forget that. You will win. You will get through this. Pastor G is out. Love you guys. Love you guys. I am out of here. Hopefully I can end this video. Thank you so much. I am out of here. Holla. Love you.